Good morning to everyone here today, and thank you for having me. Laura, thanks for the great introduction. I too, as an immigrant to this Buja, I do want to acknowledge the traditional custodians. As Inclusion Solutions and within the work that we do, we travel all over the state. And I think to witness the beauty of country and learning a new word today in Duja, I think it's incredibly important that we acknowledge that, and like everyone has said before me, we all have a role to play in creating a more inclusive Australia moving forward. So what I'm going to just quickly touch on today is a couple of stories, a couple of projects that Inclusion Solutions has been working on, and how the bounce back after COVID has really affected communities within Perth, but also going to touch on the Mandurah community as well, which we'll hear a little bit more about in a sec. But I want to start off by saying inclusion, we're all here preaching to the choir sometimes, but we're all here to, I guess, unpack and really acknowledge how important inclusion is. Now, inclusion is all people. And the reason I mention that is we've seen how COVID has affected clubs and groups in particular. The statistic was 24.6% of metro clubs in that winter season, post-lockdown last year, lost 24.6% of volunteers and members. Now that's massive. It's almost a quarter. Now, yes, that's across the whole metro area, but some clubs did some really amazing stuff. And I'm going to share just one of those clubs that were part of ensuring that when things were ready to kick on and back open, that they not only didn't take a hit from COVID, but they actually grew. Now, this is because of one very simple premise. If you are part of their club, this is Dianella Soccer Club, if you are part of their club, you are part of a broader family. Anyone and everyone is welcomed at that club, whether they have a disability, whether they're from another country, whether they can't speak English. And their premise is you will have the opportunity to play soccer. Now, the thing about inclusion is not just the right thing to do. It makes good economic sense for clubs and groups, organizations, businesses as well. And I think we need to really acknowledge that. And some of the time, clubs are not always aware of that. As a great man once said, sitting right in front of me, if your doors are open, why not open them a little bit wider? So Dianella, what they did, lockdown happened. They're part of the United Reds Football League. So this is a league that has kids with and without disabilities playing in an integrated team as part of a pathway into the club. And what they decided to do is, all right, lockdowns happened. We might not get a season, but let's really move to online. Let's see how we can offer drills online. Let's see how we can communicate with members. Let's see how we can have not just committee meetings, but encourage our members to take part more. People are at home. How can we look at extending our family? And they did this incredibly well, to the point where they're a club that has oversubscribed not only in their juniors, but for the United Reds Football League as well, which is a massive achievement for something that never took place in the football community before. Now, Mick Owens, the champion, as always, there's a champion here. And what Mick Owens really did is what he did is bring not only the players together, but he educated the entire club. It's great to have a team, but when you've got an entire club that buys into the inclusion message, the power is immense. This is a club that's not only proud of their team, but values all members completely equally. So while other clubs and groups were taking a hit of 24.6% of losing volunteers and members, this club grew about 6% in that, which is a massive achievement. And that's really how the power of COVID and how the power of having an inclusive club is so important. Now, one of the things I do want to touch on as well is a story around the aging population. Now, what we know is that a lot of local governments across the world, I'm sure, but really in WA, is when COVID hit, a lot of the local governments were making sure that any senior, any older adult, any vulnerable were really being contacted. Hey, what do you need? Can we help with shopping? Can we pick up medical supplies? Whatever the case may be. And what a lot of the local governments came to realize is older adults are pretty resilient. They don't need all the help that we think that they need. And if anything, all they really want to do is have a bit of a chat. And that really highlights the importance of what social inclusion is. Being able to socialize, have those conversations over the phone. Being able to really galvanize in a time where we have to socially distance from each other. Now, a project that we have in the city of Mandurah is the Wayfarer Project, and what that essentially is connecting older adults into community clubs and groups. Now, we know older adults are probably not revered the way that they should be. People with immense experience, immense talents, the ability to contribute back into community. And what we also know is that clubs and groups are struggling, 24.6%, of not having members and volunteers. So this is a perfect time to look at the underutilized immense resource of older adults and connecting them back into community organizations that now need volunteers and members more than ever. What I'm about to do is play a video, and we have a very special guest in the audience, and I won't embarrass her now, but this is a really great example of how somebody with immense talent in the time of retirement was looking at giving back to community. And I can promise you, you'll hear many stories coming out of this woman in the future, but please enjoy this video.
Before I actually retired, I was contemplating retiring. I spoke to my team leader and said, I'm really worried about how I'm going to fill my days because I've worked with a great group of people. They were like my extended family. I found when I actually retired from work, I began to feel that there was not a lot to do, and I was beginning to feel there must be more to life than this. I was very fortunate enough to be able to attend a workshop with the Wayfarers. I learnt a lot from the workshop about I could choose what I want to do, not what I was expected to do or have to do. And from that lesson, I have found that life has changed. So I've actually taken up volunteering with 3 different groups. I've found by doing that I've been able to use my skills, gained lots of new networking from meeting people, but also I've learnt a lot more and I will continue to learn, and that's really what I enjoy. If I hadn't have probably gone to Wayfarers, I wouldn't be doing what I am today. I'm so very grateful to that project. It's really great being retired. Sorry, Mark.
It might be the best laugh in WA, I think. And the reason I show that video and wanted to make mention of that is if there's a message that anyone can really take away today and embed and instill in community, it's that clubs and groups have such a vital role to play within the fabric of what life in WA looks like. Look at opening those doors a bit wider. Look at ensuring that the culture, those committees, and that education piece around what inclusion is and what inclusion isn't, and ensuring that we're able to offer opportunities to absolutely anyone and everyone. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and I can't wait to hear from the real great guest speakers of today. Thank you.